Hey, welcome back to another episode of the film production podcast thing that we're doing at the university. I'm here today with Dylan, Mackenzie and Eimear, and they're part of Longshot Pictures.
That's correct.
Yeah, your little production company you're doing for uni. Yeah, it's exciting because you guys are like forefront, proper making the bits, aren't you, in uni now? Yeah, yeah, you are. You're proper like everyone. The lecturers push to have your stuff shown, which is good. So
that's exciting. Yeah,
expecting good stuff, really. Maybe it's
so are we.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys want to do a quick like rundown of like who you are, like what you want to do, sort of, and just give us a little.
Do you want to start?
Cool.
Yeah.
I can start. Yeah. My name's
start.
Mackenzie Thomson. I'm directing our third year final film. I've directed 2 films in second year, and I've actually written and I'm directing our final year film.
Called In Vitro.
Yes.
Ooh.
And hi, I'm Eimear Doherty. I'm first ADing our current production In Vitro. In first year, I directed one of our short films, and then in second year, again, I took on more of a first AD role, helping other bits and bobs out. Yeah, I think that's it.
My name's Dylan Freeman, and I'm producing our final year film, In Vitro. I've basically produced most things that I've worked on. I did direct something in first year, but I'm
and acting in.
Oh yeah,
I acted in a few
Frequent actor, actually.
Yeah,
What should I say? I see you hanging around.
He gets the best roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm producing, and I am excited about our
Yes.
final year project. We all are very
Awesome.
excited.
I mean, we could go straight in and be like, what's it about? Like, what's going on? What's happening with this third year film? Because I've not heard anything about it yet. I know you guys raised a lot of money for it, though.
Yes, we
Yes.
did. You did pretty well with that, didn't we?
Yeah, you did.
Do you want to say?
Yeah, we decided to use Indiegogo this year. Last year we used, what was it, GoFundMe?
GoFundMe, yeah.
And we just were like,
GoFundMe's great because as well they don't take what you raise you earn with GoFundMe.
yes.
Isn't that right?
Well, yeah,
I think they still take.
they do
some,
take a little
like
5% cut, but it's not. But Indiegogo has a better platform for putting videos on there, putting banners on there. It looks more professional, and we thought, right, okay, so third year, fine. We'll go for this. It's going to look really pretty. One thing that did come back that was like they do take a considerable. Not considerable, but a good chunk. They took at least 250 quid offers from what we raised. So it was, you do have to take that into account. But we looked at it like, but we wouldn't have raised that had it not been for the platform. It is very important when it came to making that on Indiegogo that you make sure it looks professional as possible. We didn't want it to look like, oh, there you go, there's a student GoFundMe page, or which ours have looked like in the past, obviously with like the lack of stuff you can do on GoFundMe, but. No, I think we were really successful, and we're very lucky because it was a lot of it from your dad sent some money, your parents sent some money.
Yeah, massive thank you to everybody who donated.
thank
Just
you.
if anybody's listening, you have no idea how much it helps. It really does go a long way.
But it really does, doesn't it? Yeah. Especially with
It really
student
does.
films.
Yeah.
People think £5 is nothing. Oh, they're not going to miss that.
No,
But honestly, everything. So thanks, guys.
And it's all about we knew our camera operator, our DOP Liam. He knew someone that. Ray gave some money for one of our other films, but he hadn't seen it, and then we released it, and he was like, "That's great," and he just gave like a massive lump sum. I don't know. It's about a lot about who you know and about who's willing to give what, but also for example, we're shooting a big bulk of this film, a final year film, in my dad's house, which is back home on the Wirral, just south of Liverpool, and so it's about utilising what you have rather than trying to overstretch yourself.
Well, students are notoriously good at that, right? Using
Exactly.
the bare minimum of what you have.
For what you have.
yeah, exactly, because it doesn't make sense to.
I think though as well, like last year, the 2 films that we made, we did the same kind of thing, raised money, and we made social media pages, and we promoted it, and then we promoted this. Thankfully, our films last year, they were great. We were really proud of them. They did well, so we kind of promote their success to raise money for this one. We were like, just so you guys know, anybody who did donate last year, like this is where your money went, like, and it was awesome.
I think something else that gets overlooked is we put like a chunk of our own money into that as well. Which I don't know why we didn't do it the previous years, but like that takes like there's 8 of us in a group. If you all put £100 in, there's £800, nearly £1,000 in terms of your funds, which I think like most people might think, oh yeah, we'll put this Indiegogo campaign, this GoFundMe campaign up, and then just use that money. Like if you've got a little bit of cash to put in yourself, it's gonna go a long way.
Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah. And I think it's also an important thing to say is that, and we did it for our second year film called Brass Monkeys. We made a Facebook page for it called Brass Monkeys Short Film, and then after that, Mackenzie had the idea to make it a page called Longshot, and then every time we make a new film, you can just keep adding to it. And we did try and change the Brass Monkeys one, but it was like, no, it's too different. So we then made the Longshot one, and then so we made Hired Gun on the back of this page. But I do think, you know, a lot of things. I see a lot of second year films like, oh, you know, this short film, blah, blah, and it's like, I think people would be better off. A little tip would be to make a page about your production company, and then you can just
and I think what we really did was push the likes, like push everyone you know to like it, because as soon as they like it, they follow it. So then anything we put up, they'll see, and anyone can share, and of course all that. But
we've got about 500, haven't we?
We've got like nearly 700.
Oh, really?
700.
Oh, there you
We're all
go.
giving different numbers here, but yeah.
Would you ever consider going, you know, full force, having a proper company after university? Is that where you're going to go, or have you got other plans?
I think we'd love to. I just don't know. I mean, money is a big factor when you come out of it.
I think as well, what's amazing, what you kind of forget in uni, is this amazing equipment that we get. As you know, we get given to us, like that's amazing, and that is massive money. So if you're going to go off and do a short film yourself, like that money that we've had and we're able to spend on things like production design and locations and places for actors to stay, all that sort of stuff, that would pretty much all of it would go in the kit if you think about it.
People say to me, do university give you any funds for your films? And you're like, no. And they go, oh, people, this is from back home that don't know about Salford Uni well. And I go, no. I go, but they go, oh, that's a bit rubbish. You know, how are you? And I go, no, but the equipment that we get is, you know,
incredible.
It's literally,
it's amazing.
Yeah, state of the art. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, Netflix use this, you know, ITV use this. Like, it's all.
That's what we put on our Indiegogo campaign. We've got like this little, like, it's not a slide, it's like little photos, like, oh, we're using the same camera that whatever did.
Arrival.
Like,
Moonlight.
Which camera are you guys using for
the
your
Aarif?
The Aarif
Alexa. Do you know why did you choose the Aarif over, you know,
because it looks great.
Aarif Raw though.
I don't know. I think the other thing was we hadn't shot on something like this before. Like, you can shoot the same stuff or whatever, but the Aarif Alexa, it just has a different quality to it, and we genuinely wouldn't have got that with the other cameras.
Definitely not.
And especially because of the type of film we're doing, it's a bit more raw, it's a bit more, you know, close to the actors and close to the characters. I think it was just the right choice, and we wanted to say, we filmed our last short film on an Aarif Alexa.
So what is it? What is the film?
What's the film?
Okay.
Ooh,
Mackenzie, take it away.
Well, so it's called In Vitro. It's about a married couple that have pretty much everything. They have nice jobs, they have a nice house, they have nice cars, whatever. But what they don't have is a child, and that's the one thing that they think will, you know, complete their little jigsaw. And the film is about their journey of trying to achieve or trying to conceive a child, or, you know, and how it affects their relationship.
So
in short,
it's very different from the other things you've
done. Massively different.
Yeah,
massively different. Yeah. What is have you got different rights this time? What's changed?
What has changed?
I think we always said, didn't we?
Yeah, we always said that. Like last year, when we did Brass Monkeys, we honestly we had a laugh. Like we just had such a gag, like making it. It was so much fun. And then we thought, you know what, we did one. Why don't we just do something similar for the next one? So Hired Gun, sort of short, action, funny, you know, lighthearted, nothing too serious. But we always said, pretty much from the start of second year, we want to do something different. We want to do something big, simple, but just keep it simple.
In some ways, it's our kind of stuff has been simplified in a way, story-wise. Well, maybe not story-wise, but in kind of, it's just focused around these two people. It's not whatever we had for Brass Monkeys or Hired Gun. Like,
it's quite big. They were spectacle for a student film. They had, you know, we had good actors, like background extras and stuff.
Push the locations, push the props, push
cars,
nice car, whatever.
But I think when we went to make Hired Gun, we did have a conversation about making a serious film with a more serious tone. And then, you know, deadlines caught up to us, and they were like, you know, oh, you need an idea by, you know, your pitches next week. It's 10 days away, and we were like, yeah. And then Mackenzie had the idea for Hired Gun. We were like, great. And then we always did say that. We were like, no, but third year, we think it's important. For us, it was an important thing to make a film that, you know, a film that you take away from university and you can show people, not just your family and friends, though, we can put into film festivals and really...
A film that actually means something.
And I think what's nice, it's credit to Mackenzie, the writer, the story, it's something that everybody, I think, on some level will connect with it. as well. It's a really simple story, but everybody will relate to this in some way, shape or form, whether it's themselves directly, someone really close to them.
Yeah,
so
someone they know. Definitely.
We have high hopes.
Yeah, but no, it's exciting. Very exciting.
Definitely. Yeah, because you obviously your actual process for making these films is a lot longer, in third year, so you have all of first semester to set this
while doing
set
3 other modules but still
but okay, it's just pre-production, right? It's just the paperwork really that you do. Did you do many test shoots and stuff
we did 2 test shoots,
we did,
I think, but looking back, the style, the tone has completely changed because of doing those test shoots. Like, we look back at them and we're like, no, they're too dark,
so important to do.
But yeah,
you know that now, though, don't you?
Yeah,
exactly. When the film comes out, you're like, okay, oh no, we're not going down that way because we've already done it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was when we filmed the first block, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, we gave ourselves. We went back to my dad's house where we shot this first block, and the actors were coming Sunday, and then one was coming Monday as well. But we came Saturday morning and spent the whole day just pre-lighting. Okay, this scene, this shot. Okay, cool. How are we going to do this? And it was just massively helpful to give ourselves an extra 24 hours. Because I was saying to these guys earlier, you would have spent half of that first shoot day on Sunday.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got it done.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's all about just, taking as much time as possible. I always say with this course, what you put into it is what you get out of it. So if you put zero effort in with the pre-production, with the locations, we'll just shoot it in my uni room. Yeah, which for first year is fine because we all did it, and people do it. It's fine. But in second year and especially third year, you have to move away from everything student-y. It has to not look like a student film.
Well, it's going to be something you can show off to people. Be like, this is a film we have made. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, did you not submit either of the other films? Because by what you said, it sounded like you didn't submit them to anything. Did you not?
Well, hired. I think in first year, I think that Foresight, it went into home film festival circuit, but I didn't think it won or anything.
It did that. I don't think we've pushed any of our films enough, which is, I think, what we will do massively this time.
I think it's weird because we all thought they're not really good enough for film festivals, and then people come back and they're like, why are these not in film festivals? And we're like,
something else you learn, there are specific film festivals for like, I don't know, action comedy or whatever, and somewhere in the world there'll be one of those, but I think that's just what we've learned, haven't we?
Yeah, but Hired Gun, we were lucky enough to be nominated for an award that just last week for the Royal Television Society.
Student Awards.
And we got nominated for that, which is amazing.
Best
Congrats
drama.
to Fantopia, who took Best Drama.
Yeah. Okay, good job on that. I mean, I've not actually seen the film, but I've heard it is
Fantopia.
Spectacular.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Me and Mackenzie were actually in it.
You actually acting?
Little cameos.
We had they're just little roles.
We had little runner credits as well, but we didn't do any running.
Yeah. Well, we did run up that hill at one point. Yeah. But no, so we were in it, and so when we got this nomination, Alex said months ago, can we nominate you? Can we put it forward on behalf of the uni? I was like, yeah, of course. You're always going to say yes to that. And then when we got an email, it was maybe about a month ago or so, 5 weeks ago, and it was like, oh, you've been nominated for Best Drama, and we looked at the other nominations and we saw Fantopia, and we had no expectations for it anyway, because Alex put it forward on our behalf, sort of thing. But it was so much fun. We went and they held it in the Compass Room, which is on top of the Lowry, and that's where they're going to have our
graduation.
Graduation sort of ceremony party sort of thing. It's not the official graduation, but it's where they're gonna. It's like a mini award ceremony for the university. On I think
we've
June
had spoilers from Stephen.
Oh,
have you?
Yeah, a little bit of
anything.
No,
you can share.
I'm not sharing anything because it's a good little.
Oh, how exciting! But we went there, and Sally Nugent was the presenter, and it was just, we didn't win, and we got nominated, and then we went up and got our photo, and then our lovely lead man John Smethers made a beautiful speech. Just about
legend.
How much he worked with us, how much fun he had working with us and stuff. And it was, we went for a couple of drinks in the Alchemist after. It was just a very, very nice evening. Do you know what I mean? Very pleasant.
I think the other thing that we haven't put our stuff into festivals before is because we've been like especially in second year, you do one project and then you've got the next one straight away. Oh, we finished that one. We kind of want to, put a hold on that, and then we might go back to it, but we never really have, which is probably a bad thing, But
I think we definitely have high hopes for In Vitro, and we will be submitting it everywhere and anywhere that will take it, really.
Yeah. And I'm sure people will be very happy to see it because, judging by your other stuff, then yes, it will do quite well.
Fingers crossed.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I'm glad that your hopes are high.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, honestly.
Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything in particular you guys really wanted to talk about today? Anything you wanted to bring up? But you know, I was just asking you guys, just throwing it out there, just in case you've got like a little bit
happy
of
to
something or
go
other.
With the flow, really.
Yeah. I think one of the things that Aarif mentioned to us, also shout out, legend. Myself and the boys are really lucky to kind of have some work outside of uni, sort of in the industry and stuff. And I think he just said to bring a couple of
he said
about that.
I think he mentioned working in the industry while still being a student.
Yeah, go on. Okay, how about that? Yeah. What's it like? How is it working within the industry? And like, give me a little rundown. Like, what are you working in? What are you doing like outside?
We go back to the start.
Yeah, well,
So,
go back to the very start.
There was when we were in second year uni.
Yeah.
Stephen
Murphy's class.
Murphy
Legend.
brought in. Yeah, absolutely.
Film practice.
And do you know what? We have
practice.
we have two very important people to thank for this. We have Stephen Murphy and Ursula Hayworth. So massive thank you to that. Stephen for bringing Ursula in, and Ursula for taking a chance on us. But she came in to do a talk. She's a fantastic first AD. And with the little bit of knowledge that I had in the industry, I knew personally that's like the dream job. Everybody asks me why, and I don't really know. So she did a talk, and everything that she said, everything that the work she did,
just made sense.
What it required and what it was like. I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is me. I've got to do this. So I just went up to her at the end and asked her, could I give her a little email? Could we maybe meet up? And then I instead of just sending a CV, I was cheeky and went one further and said, let's meet up. And that happened. The boys came with, and it was...
Yeah, we tagged along. So we also have emails.
Yeah. No, but to be fair, I emailed her as well, and I remember signing off the email.
I emailed her as well.
No, but I signed off the email saying, because she did a class with like 80 of us in.
There was so many.
But she's not a particularly tall woman, and she just came in, she just held the room, no one, literally, and that's what she's like on set as well when we worked underneath her. And I signed my email off like, from Dylan Freeman, and I put in brackets the boy in the blue jacket on the right who wouldn't stop asking questions. And she got back to me and said, I'm meeting Eimear for a drink at the dockyard, why don't you come with? And I was like, sweet. And then Mackenzie...
And then I got news of this and was like, okay, I'll do
it all
as well.
So we literally did all go, and we went and just had a Coke with her or whatever, and sat. She came, she said she'd been in work in the office planning...
Yeah, she bought us all a drink.
Scheduling. And she'd been in there since like 7:30 in the morning, and she was meeting us at like 7:30 p.m, and she stayed with us for like 2 hours and then went home. And we were like, have you been in work today? And she was like, yeah, since 7:30. And we were like, oh my God, like, why are you still here? And she was like, she always says you have to give back, like from her perspective, because otherwise, she says, like, if you don't, she says there's no other good runners, no other good, and then they step up. And so she gave us all work experience on
1 week each
on ITV's Bancroft, the second series,
season 2.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Is that out? Is that
January?
January there. It was the first 3 days in January.
Yeah. Your name on credits?
No. Well, so we went in as work experience. So we all just did a week work experience, and we're lucky to only have to really do 1 week. There's a lot of people in the industry that, do lots of free work for lots of time. And then she invited us back for the last 3 days where they had some exciting scenes going on. So we all got to do that. And then that was really our foot in the door. And then there was the second AD, Tony Carter, third AD, Shelley, and the runner, Harvey. They were working right alongside us. We were in the AD department, so we were just our basically everything that we did there was helping the supporting artists get through their costume and makeup in the morning, make sure all the HODs got their breakfast in the morning, get their lunch orders, and bringing teas, coffees. It is all the stuff that you hear, but it's so important. And if you do it right and you do it with a smile, it'll take you far. And then those guys in that AD department, they're moving on to a series called Cobra and Sky One. Just came out there about
January the 17th. It came out.
And we all got different dailies just on that, just days here and there when they had big crowds in.
But we worked quite a lot on it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I say Bancroft was just our free, work experience, and then they turned around and said to us like, no, you're not going to work for free again. That's it.
After Cobra, because someone emailed us a couple of weeks after we'd done Bancroft. That's that second week that we did the last 3 days, and they said, oh hi, by the way, just as a thank you, we're going to pay you for 2 days. It was X amount, and we were like, wow, like that's amazing. It was only 2 days pay, and we were like, wow, that's so, it was like as much as I made at Costa in a month. Do you know what I mean? I didn't work that often in Costa, but do you know what I mean? And then we went on to Cobra, and they said, we got a big crowd day, come do it. It was in Bolton, the old BHS store, and they had like 150 background. And I said to Shelley, the crowd second on it, I said, Shell, who'd also been on Bancroft, I said, just out of interest, do you know if we're getting paid paid for this or not? Like, is this still
we all still thought we were going to be working for free. We were like, we'll do it for free.
Yeah. And she just said, no. She gets calling everyone Baba. She went, no, Baba. She went, no. She said, you're not doing anything. She said, do not accept any more work experience now. She said, you are good enough now to be paid, and everything else now is just learning curve. Like, you'll just learn everything else as you go.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
it was on. They ran for 4 months. Cobra did, and we all of us did at least a month on it, like intermittently here and there, like mostly on the same days. Sometimes only one of us, like, but it was amazing.
And those guys were amazing to us. But just for anybody, if you ever get any work experience, just go in there and give it absolutely everything. And just smile all day long. That's all people really want to see at the end of the day. Exactly. They're working in this industry, working back-to-back hours, crazy days. And if you come up and you can just make them smile for 2 minutes, they'll remember it.
Yeah, they do. And they do remember things like that. We were very fortunate on that, because the first AD was a man called David Menti. He's a big French man, and he was the first.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Zing.
Yeah, he was the first assistant director on Chernobyl as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got
big productions.
You know,
wow.
it was just, Chernobyl was just coming out when we were filming Cobra last year. And, you know, we were like picking his brains, but it was getting all these, like, you know, like all this buzz around it was like, this is the greatest mini-series ever made. And then it's won Emmys, it's won everything, fully deserved as well. But it was just amazing to work under someone.
We were just fangirling.
Yeah.
Whenever we were near him.
I know, but he was such an incredible human being. Like, but you know, he always had time for you, do you know what I mean? And then you'd see him just hold the floor with, like, you know, 300 people, and everyone is listening to him. No one is not doing what he's saying. And it was just, for me, amazing.
That's something as well, which is amazing, that to have, you know, talking about doing this work and doing the uni stuff, it's so amazing for us to go out onto these big professional sets and see the set etiquette, see how they run, see the amount of work and people it takes to put 2 minutes on the TV. It's crazy. But what's amazing is that each of us in all of our own roles, we see what they do, we see how they run it, and then we can bring that into our own productions that we're doing in uni.
Definitely.
And like, I think I would pride ourselves in how we run our sets. You know, me personally, I really try to do it just the way you see it on these big professional shows. And it gives everybody it gives everybody then an opportunity to do their job the best that they can.
But it also makes a difference, because we've been lucky enough to get one very well-known actor in our final year film, two, and one upcoming actor that's been in a load of stuff as well. And I think it makes such a difference when you run a set properly, and you run, however, you have dedicated rooms for whatever, you have areas for hair, makeup, all this
green room,
all of the above. It makes a difference to them. Especially being student films, they might just think, it's just going to be another student film,
just phone it in here.
But if you do it as professional as they can, they'll appreciate that, and they'll treat it as a professional, which is kind of what we
But it was
run it as,
in that you're right though. In that first block we did, it would be like, and how they do it on professionals. They if they're rehearsing a scene, they'll go, right, rehearsal, everyone quiet. You leave the director to be with the actors and the first there and whatever, and then you'll do a crew show, which is then all the crew comes in and watches what happens, and then you send the actors away to finish getting into costume, make whatever, and then you'll talk through them with the DOP and stuff. But like it was really something that we pushed. What you pushed, definitely.
Yeah, that just me trying to control the floor so everybody knows what's going on. That's exactly what Dylan said. Just so everybody then gets into a flow of it, and it all sort of
works brilliantly,
pretty smoothly. So that is a massive. That's what's so amazing about being able to do this kind of work outside as well as doing the uni stuff. But it can be tough here doing long.
I was just going to say, is it not pretty hard also trying to keep on top of your university work and do this freelancing sort of work and not necessarily being paid for this either? So is it some people will be asking, is it worth it? I might never get, I might go out, do 1,000 days work experience and never get any money for it, and then I feel like I've been conned a little bit. Yeah. Is that,
I think without a doubt it's worth it.
Yeah.
110%. We're quite lucky that we do get
I think we got it in a perfect time
money.
for it to come about, to get work experience and work on these shows when, we have uni work, but we could say yes to these, especially over summer. Now it's a little bit more difficult because we've got, our production, it's longer, isn't it?
Yeah. It's basically since after Christmas till May, isn't it? It's
we've
5
had to
months.
turn down a few things because of it.
Yeah. But that's what Mac's right. So we got this time last year, and obviously, we were filming Hired Gun and stuff, but there wasn't as much pressure as there is obviously this year. And it meant that we could take days we took loads, and then come like May and June, and then summer is when all the productions run because they get the most amount of daylight, so you can film for longest. And then in winter everything's quieting down, so like that has happened. Everything's been pretty quiet. But then like, so Mac's right, obviously they have come to us recently and say, people that we know, and so can you work this, and you do have to turn it down, but then you feel awful for turning it down. Number one, because you just feel like, number one, you really want to do it. It's a missed opportunity is what it is. And you're like, but then also it's a compliment because you're okay, well, they wouldn't come back to me if I was rubbish. And it makes you think that I'm now confident, and I know these guys are the same as well, that when we finish and come May, that we can text all the 30 plus probably contacts we have on our phone, AD related, and just be like, hey, finish uni now, I'm up for dailies or a full-time job or whatever. And I mean, fingers crossed.
As well, just that you mentioned that, just as to the AD department is like the assistant directing department. I understand that everybody. So the assistant director department, you just the assistant to the director, and then they have a whole team of people. So if your first AD runs the floor, you've got a second AD who does all the scheduling, organising, call sheets, all that sort of stuff. And then you've got your third AD who's in charge of all your background artists. So anybody that's not principal cast. The third AD dresses everyone else in the background, and then you've runners to help everything else like build up to that. But same applies if you're interested in camera, if you're interested in sound.
They all have their own little units.
They're all departments, camera trainees and sound trainees and costume, makeup, whatever it is. Any department, like it all definitely still applies. The hours are crazy long though. You do have to prepare yourself for like 16-hour days. Not always.
Not always.
Yeah. But sometimes it
does end up that way.
But the standard day is for a runner 7 a.m. start, 12.5 hours. So you will start at 7, work for 12.5 hours, and leave at 7:30 p.m. That is your standard day, and then anything after that is called overtime, what have you. But so 12.5 hours though is still a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking from my perspective, it's better than doing that as a pot wash for 12.5 hours.
True, very true. Oh, no, we're not complaining. I'm just,
y'all got to pay the bills. We get it.
But we've been a part of. There was something we worked on, and I think Aarif did want me to mention this. We worked on something for Netflix called The Last Kingdom. It's on. It's on Netflix. Really? It's like a medieval Viking-esque Game of Thrones sort of thing, and it was the 4th series of it, and it was in May time last year, and Eimear actually got a phone call, didn't you? And they only wanted 2 runners. And Shelley from Cobra said, no, just to the third on it, just get all 3. So we all went up to Bamborough, which is about an hour north of Newcastle, and filmed on this beach. We went on the Thursday, did a prep day on the Friday, and then the Saturday and Sunday they filmed with all these Hungarian stuntmen, and it was just this big epic
and I think
battle scene.
Yeah, when we turned up, we didn't expect to be the only runners on it. So we just had our work experience. We just had a few,
it was just
half a month or a month on Cobra, and then we were like, we want to do this Netflix Last Kingdom thing, and we turned out, there'll be like loads of runners, and we were the only 3, and we were like,
but normally there was the main runner on whatever job you're going on that is like you sort of follow their lead, and they'll take care of principal cast, and sometimes you do help with that, but then most of the time that if you've just been brought in for a daily, you'll be put with background. And that was like Mackenzie said, we came and it was it's just us 3. Okay, so
and all you got to do then is pull your socks up and say, okay, let's go,
bring your A game,
let's go, and give it everything.
What will you do? Were you jumping on quite a lot of different sort of jobs, as in like, because I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what runners do, like really, like realistically. I know everyone's like, you make the coffees and stuff, but like and I know it's more than that. I know it's more than that though. And do you want to like give us like a little rundown of like sort of like a general day that you'd have as a runner on a actual production?
Who wants to take this on?
So you want to start? Will I start? Something help?
Okay, you take the morning.
Turn up really early in the morning and off you go.
if you're I think some first AD told me this once upon a time. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, you're fired. I think
wasn't it Nigel? First year.
Might have been Nigel. Actually, first year. Yeah. So that is stuck with me. So always show up early. You'll usually be there about an hour before anybody else gets in there if you have loads of background. So SAs, supporting artists is what they're called.
I didn't know that when someone said sign in the essays, and I was like, an essay?
So they'll be called first because there might be quite a lot of them. We'll take a day, for example, on Cobra. There was a scene where there was a big plane crash. I think they had about 300.
Yeah, good 200 plus. Yeah,
200 plus, potentially 300. essays, and they all had to go through costume and makeup, but also because there's a plane crash and people have like missing limbs and burns and all this sort of stuff. So there's a lot of prosthetics. Is that the right words?
Yeah.
That they have to go through. So you'll help them do all that and make sure everybody gets through breakfast. The other runners there as well might be helping you alongside. And then they might leave you and go take the principal cast, get principal cast breakfast orders, making sure they go through costume, makeup at the same time. HOD, so all the big
heads of department.
Heads of department. All the big boys, big producers, the director, your DOP. When they come in, just smile.
Yeah.
Smile.
Smile and wait, boys.
And simple, offering a cup of tea, coffee, ask them if they want their breakfast, all those sorts of things. And then usually you'll have a unit base where all this happens, where you'll have all the cast trailers, all the marquees and tents and catering. And then there'll be minibuses to take you to where the actual filming takes place on set. That might be half an hour away, it might be 5 minutes away.
Might even be a walk from unit
base. It might be a walk
to
from.
set.
And then you'll load everybody up, make sure you have everyone on your list, don't leave anybody behind.
That's a painful one when
tell
that's
me about it. And then bring everybody to set, and you kind of just make sure as well then throughout the day that like if the third AD asks you for a certain grip of background, to just kind of know who's there in the room, like know what if there's like a grip of let's just say the bad guys and a group of, chefs, or just kind of know who's there and know kind of roughly how many is in each group, so that when they call for someone, if there's someone missing, you're on the ball. It's little small things like that I think really make the difference.
There's a runner that we work with called Harvey Thornton, and he makes a point. He doesn't even make a point of it. It just he works and
smashes out all the names.
Yeah, basically he'll say, I don't know, a few hours into the day, he'll go around, and there's one day there's hundreds and hundreds of these background artists, and he would go around, get them all in a big line, because that's what you do. You have lineups for costume and makeup, so they can all go through, tick the names off. Yeah, you look good, whatever. And he would go around and go boom, 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 and name all of the background art. There could be hundreds of them, and it's just incredible.
He named like 120 of them, didn't you?
Yeah.
He went through and named all 120 of them, whatever, and they all clapped him.
But what that does is how much respect, if you were a background artist and like you could say, oh yeah, he remembers my name, but he also remembers everyone else's, how much respect as a background artist you would give the runner when the runner goes,
on the work experience for Bancroft, I remember the second on that, Ben Zaradi said to me, Dylan, just a little heads up. I hadn't done anything. He said, I'm just giving you a piece of advice for your career as a runner. He said, do yourself a favour, don't treat the background artists like shit. He just said, it doesn't get you anywhere. He said, but it's an old school thing. He said, where some people think, oh, you can speak to the cast really nicely, and then the background are like, the scum even, or something like that. And he was like, they're not. And I was like, no, of course. And he was like, yeah. He said, just never do it. And like Max says, if you treat them with the same respect you treat one of the actors, etc., or the director, and then they'll do things, because you then have, sometimes you'll be left with 40, 50 people on your own trying to conduct 40, 50 adults, especially as someone like this is 1920. It's actually really difficult, because
fit as well,
exactly. So if like Max says, little things like remembering people's names, like come on, John, get your bag, come on, we're going, or everyone, come on, let's go, and it goes such a long way. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So where are we up to with the day? And then
I think we're still at the morning.
You're still making coffees for people.
But that is a lot of it. And then when you're on set, just making sure everybody's okay, everybody's having a nice day.
There's a lot of I think the stuff we've done, like for drama and stuff, you would do lock-offs. So you would stand at a door and not let anyone pass when they're when the camera's turning, and you will shout turning. So you will all have like an earpiece on. You'll have a channel for the AD department. Every department has a channel on the radio. Usually the ADs are on number 1. And when you hear the first AD shout turning and cut, you will relay those calls as loud as you can to the rest of the set, not let anyone through the doors of whatever. I have heard on bigger, like much bigger things like feature films and stuff, that the runners, if you're a runner, you might just be at a lock-off all day, and that's your only job. You won't deal with anything other than your lock-off, and you will stand there for 12 hours and shout turning, even if it's like 3 miles down the road.
Yeah.
That's what you
go to that lock-off, and you do the best lock-off you've ever done, ever. If that's your only job, you do it the best that you've ever done.
And the one time that you think, you've been stood there for an hour and no one's tried to walk past you at the wrong time or anything like that, and you think, I'll just nip the toilet, or I'll just go get that coffee, and then they'll go for the next take, and you think, and then they'll go, cut there. what? Sorry, why is this door going? And you think, oh God, it's me, or it's only happened a few times, whatever. But like Eimear says, you got to make sure. And I once said to a second that I was like, I really want to work in film. Do you know what I mean? Like TV, high budget TV, high end TV is great. I said, but and he said, yeah, but Dylan, what you don't realise though is people that start out in the film industry as a runner, he said, and like Mackenzie just said, he said sometimes they'll just be told to lock off. He said, so yeah, great, they might have worked on 10 films and you've worked on 3 or 4 dramas, but if you've been, okay, so you know how to get the actors through costume and makeup, you know how to speak to the directors properly, all this stuff that people a runner on a film, all they know is to not let people pass the gate when they're not supposed to. Do you know what I mean? So he says get your experience here, he said, and then move into the industry. Why not? Like the film industry. And he says that, he's worked on massive things. He was offered to be the key third on Aladdin, the Guy Ritchie that came on the other. He turned it down, believe it or not, because he was like, no, he said he just got married and he'd moved into a house and stuff, and he was like, I can't travel the world for 8 months, But yeah, so no, it's. I
can show you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, to be fair, but it's supposed to be good.
But yeah, it's just amazing the difference. I think it's made even our sets is having the professional experience and then bringing it on to and incorporating it in our everyday stuff. It's been amazing. I would advise like anybody in first year and second year, if you still third year, still me, I'll still do it when I'm outside of uni. If you see an opportunity that someone's doing a talk on a topic area that you think, you know what, that sounds like a bit of me, just go to the talk, ask questions, be present, just sit there, just really, really engage with it. Yeah. And they will notice you, and if you don't ask, you do not get. Shout out to my mama. If you don't ask, you don't get. So just go for it. Yeah. And that is what's made the world of difference to me. So I technically do have Salford Uni and Stephen and Ursula to thank for all of this. We all do, really.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
I mean, and little shout out to anyone that's listening and doesn't know that next week, Wednesday the 11th,
yes,
Ursula Howarth, who gave all 3 of us our work experience, and like Eimear says, we have to thank from once you get your foot in the door. It's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing we've done so far is that and she's coming in Wednesday the 11th into University of Salford, and we're unfortunately filming for our final year film, so we're not going to be here.
Wednesday the 11th of this month?
Yeah, March 2020. So I implore everyone listening to go and speak to her afterwards.
She's going to kill us now, everyone's going to bombard her.
I know, yeah. Or don't, but just go and listen to what she has to say, because everything she says is just gold dust, literally.
Yeah. I was just about to say, oh wow, I'd really love to go there, but I'm not here either, so
cool.
It's fine, I want to be editorial.
Sit in a dark room.
Yeah, I sit in the dark room. Yeah. Anyway, there you go for anyone who's listening. I would go if anyone's out there, go to this talk if you have the time, because like these guys, I've listened to them for 30 minutes and I'm already like, this person sounds amazing. I want to go. I'm going to go see them. Yeah, and just go do it.
Yeah, and that's just one. That's just one.
Oh yeah, and that's just for first AD, isn't it?
And that was just for first AD, because I knew that was something that I was like, give me it.
I was just going to say, I think it's something that the university this year has definitely pushed, is for getting a lot more people in for talks. And it's, because I think a lot of our year said, like, they said at the start of this year in September, they said, what do you want, like, from this? Like, they said, obviously, all the modules are done and stuff, but, like, what is the other stuff that you want? And a lot of the people said, like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I finish uni. Like, how do I get into the industry? So the university, and, hats off to them, have been really good with getting people like Ursula, producers in, people from Hollyoaks, stuff like that, line pictures, editors, all this stuff. And it's the same applies for all of them, no matter what department. You go up to them if you're interested in editing. Oh my God, that was so amazing. Can I come and do some work experience for you?
Obviously, can I come and watch?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the tutors are doing this for all of us guys. They're putting all these talks out there for us, so do show up.
Exactly.
It goes a long way.
It really does. And you'll only have the university to thank, and yourself, for going to the actual talks.
Yeah, exactly. It's free as well.
Of course,
there you go. Yeah, there's some of these things outside in the real world. You'd have to pay for to go to these things. Yeah.
So
there you go. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Free things. Good. Yeah, I know there was a few little bits and bobs that we've gotten here as well. I thought we had like a little, almost like a question thing online.
Oh yeah. Did anyone actually ask any questions?
Some people did actually ask those. We have a couple. We have a couple of questions. So I thought, you know what? Let's throw that in.
The one about crisps is from our DOP. Liam.
I saw that and I was like, But seriously though, what type
answer
of
it?
crisps,
I'll answer. It's because when we were on the first block of shooting, me and Liam were having a bit of banter or something, and I bought a massive bag of crisps to make sure that everyone had something over lunch when we were having a big picnic in the living room.
Wait, what type?
The key to a happy day is a happy crew. Way to keep a happy crew is to feed them. Feed them.
It's important, yeah. And I can't even remember. I think I just bought.
People want to know what crisps.
From they were Aldi. I don't think I'd.
Cheaper the better.
Yeah, literally. And I think Liam just said to me, I said, "Oh, you haven't done much today, Liam. Have you just held the camera?" And he went, "What have you done, Dylan?" Bought some crisps, and I was just flattered out. I was like, "Oh, I've got no response to that." So I think he's asked a question on Instagram, like, "What's the best kind of crisp to keep a crew happy?"
That is exactly what he.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he
Right.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There you go.
Thrilling.
Yeah. Well, we've addressed that, Liam. So I hope you're happy.
Yeah. We have one here, which is how is your AC so gifted at focus pulling?
That we
I
are.
wonder who that's from.
Jack also said that.
Jacques.
Jack also said he asked the question. And I think that'll be it as well.
Yeah.
So-
Salisbury Productions.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Jack Salisbury.
Sales
yeah.
instructions.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
Next question.
Pass.
Oh, I don't even know what this means. Who's the best MUA?
MUA?
What is
Makeup
that?
artist.
Oh,
MUA. Took me. By the way, I didn't know that until I had to ask email. I was like, "What is a MUA?"
Makeup by Molly May. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
it makes sense now.
Yeah. MUA
Bingo.
stands for makeup artist.
I think it's our
Right.
crew just asked these questions.
Yeah,
So
is
don't
that
for
it? Have you got
themselves.
4? Yeah.
There is
Molly May, in case anyone was wondering.
There
She's
is a
great.
good one though here, which is
Go
on
on.
advice for modules to pick for the second years. I assume this has been asked by a second year. So
Good
Fair.
one.
if you want to did you guys all do like different ones, or did you
I think we did similar ones. Did we
Yeah.
not? In second year.
Me and
third
Mackenzie.
year.
For third year.
year.
Exactly.
Oh, for
asking
third
for
year.
this year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did it was so
So we all did directing fiction.
That's right.
John Zabel's
John
module?
Zabel's class. Personally, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot
He's
of
the
fun.
new
I learnt
American.
loads.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Big beard.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very passionate.
Very
passionate man.
about what he does, which is amazing, which is what I really love. Just to see in any tutor, if they love their stuff, that's what makes me excited to go to their class. So
Definitely.
yeah, he's wicked. I love that module. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's thinking about it. When I first came into to uni personally, like I wanted to direct hence in first year, and then I kind of learnt maybe what this first AD role in that sort of department, and I thought, you know what, maybe that's just a little bit more suited to me. Slightly less creative responsibility, but still involved in the creative and
I
practical
think
side of it.
it's kind of developed from the producing and directing module that's in second year.
Yeah.
That's still a module that goes
Yeah.
on.
No, it
Yes.
is definitely. Yeah.
In second year it is. Yeah.
that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But I think it's massively obviously it's directing fiction, so it's the directing side of
Yeah.
it, but it's massively focused on performance and getting the absolute best out of your actors and how to do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm into producing, and I've never really, like I said, I directed one thing in first year and it wasn't very good. But I took that module, directing fiction, and even for me, who I'm not really interested in directing, I think it's great. But the reason why I'm not really into directing is because as much as I think I'd love to do it and it to be the forefront, is that having worked with Mackenzie and Eimear on other projects where they've both directed and stuff, to see their minds work and how much thought process goes into directing, it's really an eye opener. But obviously I still took that module and I enjoyed it and I got quite a good grade for it and stuff. So I definitely think that's one that we can all three of us recommend.
Massively.
Yeah.
And then you guys took
We did Light for Camera.
Yeah.
What else did we? Oh, we'll go on Lighting for Camera for a bit. Yeah, I love Lighting for Camera.
Steve Wyatt.
Yeah, I don't think you don't fully get to learn about all the equipment we have and all the lights and etc. until you get to this course.
Yeah.
Like, because you do it in first and second year, but everyone does it, and not everyone really, most people care about it, but there's also like, oh, it's just the kit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Different
it's so
interests.
focused on, every lesson we'd turn up and there'd be a different lighting setup or something that we'd have to do as a group or as separate groups, because our class was quite small. And yeah,
Yeah, it's quite a practical kind of hands-on module, which is what I loved about it. Every day you're up, you're doing something, you're making something, you're doing something different. Kind of similar to directing fiction too, a lot of workshops. I personally really thrive off that. I'm not amazing at just sitting in a classroom.
Yeah.
So
you
that's
also,
why I loved
yeah,
it.
you also get the choice of what you hand in at the end, so you can either hand in 2 stills and 2 like short clips,
Yeah.
video wise, with 4 different lighting setups, or you can submit like a short film or a music video or something like that. I did a mini short film, and I thought that was great
nice.
because outside of our actual film, it was just me to get a chance to do something that I wanted to do on the side and get marked for it.
Yeah.
That is one of the negatives I can say, having not done lighting for camera, was that I don't know how to use the ARRI. Like, I wouldn't even, they have to do a passport, and that means they can book it out and stuff. Is that I don't know how to do that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not really massively into like the camera and stuff, but I still want to know that stuff. So like half me was like, I'm glad I didn't take that module, but the other half was like, I'm missing out on learning all about this new exciting equipment.
There's nothing to say that you can't go to any of these
no,
modules,
of course.
Yeah,
but when you've got
attend.
Yeah, you can obviously, but when you've got other modules to write for,
yeah, of course,
yeah. So I did my other module was exhibition distribution,
film distribution, marketing. Yeah.
So that's taken by Stephen Murphy, and it's the producing side of it basically. And it was all about looking at films, how they were released. The first module was about how was pick a film, and you had to choose a case study, and then I think it was 1,500 words to 2,000 words on how they chose to distribute this film and what was special about it. So I chose In a Field in England by Ben Wheatley, and they released their film. It was 2015, I think it was, and they released it all on the same day on Film 4, DVD, Blu-ray, cinemas, like all on a Friday, I think it was, in the summer. And so I wrote about that, and then in the second half of that was you then had to make a marketing strategy for a film of your choice. And it could have been a film you've done in the past, or he said it didn't even have to be a script. It could have just been like a log line, and you were going to base the film around it. So I actually chose In Vitro, and was like, right, I'll just do a marketing strategy for that.
Yeah.
It was very specific, obviously, because that's what Stephen wanted, but like it was massively helpful. And as much as I don't really like writing essays, the beauty of them was that they weren't like, you didn't have to do references.
You enjoy writing about as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And
area.
like the second one, the marketing strategy, was you can write a few references, but it wasn't like an essay, like write this and then back it up with this. It was just like it was quite creative. It was creative writing for me, because you could be like, okay, I'm gonna make like augmented reality, an app that's gonna market this film if you point it at a wall and it has a certain thing, and we're not gonna do that, but like I'm not gonna do that, but it's exciting learning about all of that, and I really enjoyed it.
But Toby, our sound guy in our group, he loved the sound module, as you would expect.
Yes.
But we've only
roped
done
me and Dylan into that to do some
voiceover
acting ADR for it.
That was good fun.
But
and ADR is good, isn't it? Especially when you don't have to edit it later.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just chosen areas though. Like everybody who picked there chose module. I think nobody really had anything massively bad to say about it. So
and I still think
go with
that
what you love.
and don't think you still have to narrow your choices into something that you want to do, because make the most of.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're going to narrow it down to directing. You can still do sound. You can still do all of that other stuff.
As long as I do think that if you want to direct or produce, you should do.
Obviously do the
directing fiction.
That suit.
Yeah, but I think it's it's also an important thing that you just do whatever modules suit you. Not worry about your friends. Not that anyone does, but it's not really a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Pick
like
your subjects and your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, literally, yeah.
Stuff like this though is definitely useful, for people who, they don't, like we said at the beginning, people don't necessarily know what they're going to do. Are they going to come to university? Even when they're in university, what like direction am I going down?
I think I always say this, that in terms of a course like this, when you come into something like film production, you're going to be, it's going to be heavily practical. Like, that from the get-go. And I think we got quite lucky. In day one, we all just didn't know each other and sat down at the same table, and we just met on day one and we just clicked. And we're so lucky that we all just work so well together. And we all just really, really give a damn. We were all so passionate and we all really want to do it. And annoyingly, that's the one thing I think sometimes you can see in these kinds of courses. It's someone or a group of people will get together and there's no motive, there's no drive, and honestly, if everybody puts their heads together and just gives a little bit of enthusiasm, it's amazing what you can do. So
even I
we're
guess
so lucky.
if you don't find that click straight away, don't think that it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
it will
definitely.
happen. Like we've had
We're
people come into
our
our group and we've clicked with them straight
away.
So
I mean, Jack, who wrote about the focus pulling, he was going to work with us in second year, and then it didn't quite materialise. And then the start of third year, I got a message like, hey, I really want to work with you guys this year. Like, can I come into the group? And we were like, yeah. But like Eimear was saying, it is like on the first day, if the universe works in weird ways, this is proof. I got the 50 bus from Peel Park the wrong way through Manchester and was like in South Manchester, and I was like so late for the first lecture, and then I came in and I was like 40 minutes late, and I literally, Nigel just went, just sit down. What are you, PTG 5? Yeah, okay, sit there. And I sat down. 6. And I sat down, and these two were there. And it was, one of those things that you're like, I was so annoyed at myself for being so late, because even though it was my own fault for not bloody checking which way I went, and it all worked out. But like, I do not regret. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, being late for it, because it worked out.
Happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is one thing that I would say. Even if you're in first year and second year, and you're with a group of people who aren't maybe as motivated as you are, try and find another group. And if they see that you're really passionate and you really care, because that was the same for us. The people that we brought on board, they were like, listen guys, we want to do it. So I think that's why we brought them on board.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think passion is the biggest thing that's driving, really, or is there some other elements at play? I know it's not.
Talent
you don't necessarily
helps a little bit.
Yeah,
it is. Passion is everything. Like,
especially at this level.
If you weren't passionate, you wouldn't do it. But
it keeps everything going. Like when things get annoying and tough and like are difficult, like that's what keeps it going, really.
It's so easy to just quit. Like that location's backed out, and and then our secondary location's not working either. Okay, you look down it, and like the passion comes in, where it's like, an easy thing to do would just be like, sod this. We'll just cancel that scene, and we'll just figure out to put the information in a different part of the film, whatever. And, the passion could be coming in there, where it's like, no, right. What other things can we utilize here to make sure that this happens? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, we're very lucky that we've got each other, but we work hard. We do work hard.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, what you put into this course,
you get out of it,
because it reflects on how much time you put in pre-production, how much time you put in the film itself, and then when it comes to post, if you give yourself a week to edit it, it's not going to look very good. If you give yourself 6 weeks to edit it, you can revise it. You can, all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? It goes a long way.
Definitely. Yeah. I totally agree with you guys, though. Yeah, I'm just saying, it is a good point. Passion is pretty much everything. We've said this a few times, actually. I feel like it's come up a lot.
I have seen it on the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's come up a lot just because,
Passion podcast.
Yeah, passionate. We are passionate about this. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't. I didn't care. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got lucky. It comes down to luck as well. At the end of it, obviously, we're all passionate and stuff, but
I always say,
luck
is when hard work meets opportunity.
I've heard this before.
There you go. I'll say it again. Yeah. I'm full of all these.
No, but it is though, because we.
I'll shut up now.
When it's just making. I remember when we came up for the idea for Brass Monkeys, the three of us sat in a cafe in Manchester. I'm not saying this is the best way to do anything ever, but like we sat there, and the deadline or the pitch was coming up in like a week's time. We were like, right, we need to crunch out an idea here. And we sat there for God knows, it was like 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was not the most creative way to come up with an idea, but something came about, and it was, I think we originally came up with an idea for speed dating for like gangsters, like mafia. And then Matt was like, but what about
that's right.
And then Matt was like, but what about if we then took that, and then they all got an anonymous invitation to this warehouse, and then it was like, right, okay, and then we spoke to our DOP Liam, who was like, well, my partner Kasha, her parents own a warehouse near the Etihad Stadium, so shout out to them.
We're doing it then. We've got the location.
And it just goes from there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think your actual creative process, of coming up with an idea. Does everyone does it all your team sit down together, or do you normally get does your writer or whoever who's doing it goes, I've got this great idea, guys, we're going to do this, and then you sort of flow with that, or is
I think for Brass Monkeys that's how it worked, and. For Hired Gun, how did that come about?
You came about with Hired Gun.
You came up with the idea for the old guy, and then I introduced what about Sean, and what if they were, what if it was his dad?
And then on Foresight,
so it is just talking about it,
and
you don't get anywhere unless you talk about it, and then someone will say something, and you're like, that's stupid, and then someone will say something, and you'll be like, that's amazing, and it just kind of goes like that.
I think. Yeah, I think then when it came to In Vitro, like I said, we always wanted to make something serious, and Mackenzie came up with the concept of it being focused around IVF, and they actually, in third year, just in case anyone didn't know, they do a script revisal sort of thing where after Christmas you spend 3 weeks revising the script and stuff, and and the rest of the group are very involved with that. And you send in your points, like, I don't really like this, or what about that, or like even if it's just a little thing, like, and quite a lot of them it's like, no, it's irrelevant, or oh, that doesn't make sense, and the other them it's like, oh yeah, well if we change that, we just tweak it a little bit, and it goes a long way. But I think for this idea I think came from, because we want to make it something special. It sort of comes from what you know, and this story is well, probably not what these guys know, but that my parents went through the IVF process, and me and my sister were lucky enough to be a product of that. So that's why I wanted to write a story about that kind of, not the process or the relationship between the two characters, the people going through it.
It's a nice angle. Yeah, I like the idea. It's a cool idea.
Thank you. And a credit to Mackenzie. We don't like to tell him this too often, but his writing really is fantastic.
It is. And when you see it then come to life, and we filmed the first block and stuff, and you're like, okay. And it's hard. It's another thing with working with other people and stuff, is it's hard to really gauge how, I don't know how to put this, how good other people are until you've worked with them. So when we all did Brass Monkeys together, and Mackenzie was like, right, he was like, I want to direct this, and Eimear was like, okay, well, I'll first it, and then you also did DOP'd it as well a little bit and stuff, and it was like, right, okay. And but there were a lot of times on that where it was like, Mac, what about this? And he'd be like, no, trust me, I've got it in my head or whatever, and you're like, okay. And it was the first time I'm like, okay. And then and then Brass Monkeys came out, and it was amazing. Like, we love it, and we did well for it, like grades wise. And then it just gets to times now where you just say, Mackenzie, what about this? And he's like, no. Like, I see it. I've got it. And you're like, and because we've worked with him before, and we're all, me and Mackenzie live together, and we're all best friends, and it's like, unfortunately, is that it's like, you can now, there's times where you just say, yo, like, I have complete faith in you, like, leave that with me, and I'll sort it, or you got that, you got that, okay, and I've got faith in you. And it's all about having trust within other people in your group, and obviously that's so hard to do, because you've got to make sure that A, you trust the person, and B, they can actually pull it off, is what they're talking about. But when it does hit right, do you know what I mean? I
was going to say, going back to what you said, that 3-week thing with Beth.
Oh yeah.
So you came back from after Christmas, and then Beth McCann put on this for all the writers. So she'd put on this 3-week intensive course for all the writers to attend, like one-on-ones, group sessions, and all that, just to kind of develop your scripts. And that changed it didn't change our script massively, but it made a world of difference. 100%. It made, like, you come back from Christmas, you had a break, you could have a script and be like, yeah, we're ready to film, but it didn't get me thinking about the characters, about the words on the page as much as it did in those 3 weeks.
They were tough. We sat down for a session when we, like, the rest of the crew joins, like, at the end in, like, the last week, and they go over the changes that have been made. And she sat down and she went, I think she asked me, like, what is this film about? And I was like, it was about a couple and trying to have a baby. And she was like, no. What is this film about? And you were like,
and that's all you go through these 3 weeks. You're like, oh no.
But like Mackenzie says, and the big credit to it's revised the script so much. You look at the script and look at the story from a different angle.
It puts your head in the story.
Well,
gets you involved.
Luckily, Beth's going to be coming on one of the podcasts in a few weeks.
Brilliant.
And she's doing a script writing podcast.
Nice.
Brilliant.
She's great.
Beth is good, isn't she? And she's doing a whole thing. We're going to have a whole bit about it. I don't know, maybe she'll come back for another one, hopefully.
Definitely. No, I think it's definitely worth being there for, because I know it requires some people to come back a bit earlier after Christmas break, even though when you technically don't have to and stuff, but some people think,
it's
I
the
can't
passion.
be bothered. There you go.
There it is.
There you go. That keyword.
Put that in there again.
So we're excited, very excited.
Awesome.
Super excited.
I'm excited for you guys.
Thanks.
I think we should actually wrap it up there.
Okay.
Because you've done a very, very good job, and I'm super happy I got to speak to you guys.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for having us.
Likewise.
Likewise. Thanks for having us.
It's a shame it's got to come to an end. It's quite fun.
Hopefully we can get you back after you've finished filming. Maybe
that
would be awesome.
We would
see what's happened and like what's going on.
That would be cool.
Free advertising for us, Dylan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, at Longshot Pictures.
I was just about to say,
Longshot Pictures UK on Instagram.
Oh, Longshot
if you
want
to plug anything now, if you want to mention anything before we finish, now is the time to do it.
I think that's Longshot Pictures UK on Instagram. Longshot Pictures on Facebook. What else have we got? We have a website, but Facebook and Instagram are probably better port of calls.
I know that you said there was just a second here that had any questions, but if anybody ever does have any questions about the course, like just in general, don't hesitate to ask.
Message the page. We do get sometimes people messaging us, Mackenzie, myself, or the page like Longshot Pictures UK, and they're like, how did you get this, or how did you do that, and and look, knowledge is only as good as if you can pass it on. Do you know what I mean? That's what I always think. We're not going to withhold any information or anything like that. So if anyone does have any questions.
Do we have anything else we can share?
No, I guess just watch the space for in vitro, literally, because I genuinely can't implore this enough that I think it's going to be something.
I think we'll
really
put on
special.
a nice screening, 1 or 2 screenings.
Yeah,
if people actually want to come and watch
it.
I want to come see it.
Yeah, you can.
Definitely.
Keep an eye on
Sound a bit sarcastic there, Charlie.
Keep an eye
you do.
No, I do actually want to come see this.
Yeah.
Like, your
Okay,
stuff's
good.
been awesome.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on our social media pages. We'll be posting. That was really fast. Keep an eye out on our social media pages. We'll be posting some posters and announcing more of our fantastic cast.
Yeah.
Up in there soon too. And yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. Do we have anything else?
I'm gonna do our one, which is follow at UOS Film Production on Instagram, please. We need more followers and
ask questions on it.
Yeah.
Why isn't
4 questions.
everyone following it already? Why isn't everyone from our course following it? No one knows.
We always keep up to date on it. We when we put up stories, we always tag UOS in it because then we're like, Aarif's seen it. He's put it on his story. We love it.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, exactly.
Anchor FM, if you want to go watch this or listen to it, I guess it's on all major platforms: Spotify, Apple Music,
Nice.
the other ones. Yeah, there's more, but and it's also on YouTube because we have cameras. Wow,
exciting!
It's a film course. We film it as well.
Thanks very much for asking us on.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Big
much.
props
Thank
to
you.
Aarif.
Thank you guys for coming on. So if anyone wants to do anything and get involved, let either me know, or Juliette, or Lucy, or Aarif, or anyone. They'll find you. They'll point you in the right direction. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Cool.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
See you later,
Sign out.
everyone.
See you later.
Bye. Awesome. Thank you.